In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Marianne's guests are leaders in their field, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in their own work. They teach others to develop, refocus, and grow. Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. And remember, make every moment count.
Welcome to Moments with Marianne. I'm so excited to be spending this time here with you today. We have quite a show lined up. Our first guest, Dr. Mariza Snyder, is here today to talk to us about her new book, Smart Mom's Guide to Essential Oils. But you don't have to be just a mom for this. This is great information that can be used in anyone's daily life. So let's welcome to the show, Dr. Mariza.
Thank you so much, Marianne. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today.
Oh, it's such a joy to have you here, too. I mean, my goodness, you have written so many books, and you're like the go-to person when it's all about health, and so I'm so excited to hear about this essential oil book of yours.
Wonderful. I'm so excited to have it come out. You know, I've had the experience of sharing and educating well over 50,000 people on essential oils, and one of the questions that comes back to me all the time is, you know, really, where do I begin? How do I start to really make these changes for my family? Because, you know, as women and as moms, it can just feel like there's a lot going on, and adding one more thing to the plate could feel like a big learning curve. And so the real purpose of this book for all of the moms, and even women out there as well, is really to give them a simple map to getting started on essential oils, and then really wonderful and easy recipes that I know create great results and can be really fun for basically providing a non-toxic, healthy environment for the entire household.
Oh, gosh, can't we all use a little bit more of that nowadays, you know? Because I know we're all, you know, especially like when I go to the grocery store, I'm concerned about organic foods, you know, where food is sourced from. And I want to have the same thing in my home, you know, with products that I use.
Absolutely. I think a lot of moms and a lot of women in particular, you know, one of my expertise is on hormones. And, you know, with the onslaught of so many chemicals that are in our personal care products, our shampoo, our conditioner, our lotions, our deodorant, all of the things that we use as a part of our daily landscape. And then the soap that we use in the bubble bath for our kids, you know, what we're putting on when we're cleaning the sink, when we're mopping the floors, all of that goes into effect. And we find that the environment in our homes can actually be a lot more toxic than just stepping outside into the external environment. And so definitely we're becoming a lot more mindful about what we're putting on our bodies, even on top of what's going into our bodies, like what we're consuming. Because for a long time, that was very much the conversation is no processed foods, try to avoid GMOs, eat organic when possible. But now it's even, okay, well, what are we putting on our skins? Because our skin it's really, I mean, although it acts as a barrier to some degree, the design of it is to really bring constituents and bring, you know, different properties into our bloodstream by way of the skin.
Mm-hmm. And being the biggest organ of the body. Now, you know, for someone that's getting started on this, you know, what are the basics? Like, what is essential oil?
Absolutely. Great question. So an essential oil is a volatile aromatic compound found in basically all over the plant, the root, the stems, the flowers, the bark of a plant, and these plants are grown all over the world. And these constituents, and they can vary from terpenes to alcohols, aldehydes, these constituents are designed to work with our body's natural biochemistry to really create cellular vitality in the body. I mean, they have such a wonderful range of properties that really support the body in just a great way. And so how they're basically taken is from all of these parts of the plant, and every plant it could be different. For instance, Roman chamomile comes from the flowers. Eucalyptus is coming from the leaves. And so how they're taken off these beautiful essential oils is they're distilled specifically from that plant, and then those constituents are bottled up for us to use. And that's basically the long and short of how essential oils come to be.
Okay. So a lot of times people will see like essential oils at the store or at different places. So are all essential oils pretty much the same, or are they different?
Great question. So not all essential oils are created equally. And when it comes to looking at essential oils or trying to figure out what type of purity you're looking for, you're definitely going to be looking for therapeutic grade, or pure therapeutic grade. But you also, if you're really, really interested in, the type of purity of an essential oil, that's the great thing about having the internet, is that you can really go in and dive into, what are good pure oils. So a lot of stores selling oils today. I've seen them in Walmart. I've seen them in Target. I've seen them all over. And so I always recommend investigating the company, seeing if the company has purification standards, if they have testing that they do. Are the oils coming from an indigenous location? So are they harvested from the indigenous area? So for instance, is Melaleuca coming from Australia, or is cardamom coming from Guatemala? Is lavender coming from Bulgaria or from France? Those are the types of things that you're looking for. If they're being farmed, there's a good chance that the constituents of those oils are not going to be the best. Those are the things to be looking out for. There are definitely companies that I feel very comfortable utilizing, other companies that I'm not so sure. And then always, it's a good idea to use your nose, right? Our sense of smell is the most powerful sense that we have because it's directly connected to our sense of survival. So you can smell if something doesn't smell right. So if it smells alcohol-y or it smells synthetic, it just doesn't smell right. There's a good chance that's probably that particular essential oil was stripped with solvents, or they adulterated it in some way. So I always say do your due diligence, do a little bit of research, and see if those oils are pure. Because when they're pure, you're really going to see the results, at least the results that I talk about in my book, because that's what I'm used to. And I'm using very, very pure oils. My patients, or I'm recommending them to somebody, there's a result that I'm expecting for them. However, if you're using a very synthetic-driven essential oil, or maybe it's just a lotion or something that we know that's synthetically derived, or like a natural scent, most likely you're not going to get the results. You may not see any results when you're using that specific type of oil.
Okay. And I know if someone says, hey, I just want to use what you're using because you've done all the homework, they can get in touch with you in regards to like scheduling time to talk about the essential oils that they would use?
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be a great place to find me. If indeed they were looking for more information, my Dr. Mariza website is a great place to go. Our blog on Facebook, I'm always sharing recipes. I'm always sharing wonderful tips. And again, I compiled the recipes and so much of my knowledge in this book as well, so that it really was very easy for people to kind of follow. So I have a lot of emergency techniques. Like for instance, if someone were to cut themselves or scrape their knee, we have we have a salve to actually put over the knee that's very easy to use. Or maybe someone has really yucky neck tension or head tension. What are the best oils for that? And how to apply them? What dilution should I use to make sure that I'm getting the most, getting the most results for that particular oil?
Oh, perfect. And so they can go to drmariza.com to be able to look a little bit more into that with you. So, okay.
Absolutely.
So we know what essential oils are, how to go ahead and determine which ones we probably should be using. So what are some of the techniques or the applications that we can, use essential oils for?
Absolutely. So there are a lot of essential oils out there. I'm looking, if you ever come into my house, which when friends come over, there's oils everywhere because we have diffusers everywhere, and we've got oils in the bathroom. We have oils in the kitchen because we cook with essential oils. I have them in my green smoothie right now. And so in all of the oils that you can have in your hands and all of the thousands of constituents that exist, the great thing is that there's only 3 ways to use essential oils. And we say it's ATI for short, and it's aromatic, topical, and internal. Now, I will say that when it comes to internal, I always recommend caution. There's a lot of essential oils out there on the market that cannot be used internally. And when you do use oils internally, you just want to be really careful because they are very powerful. And so you always want to use caution. Like any type of medicine or any type of antioxidant or even a supplement that we're using. We always just want to use caution. No one's taking 20,000 milligrams of vitamin C on a daily basis. We're careful about how much vitamin C we're taking. Same with oils when it comes to internal. But I'll briefly go over the three. So aromatic is breathing the oils in, and that's really where the concept of aromatherapy comes from. And the three big reasons why you would use aromatherapy or using them aromatically, either in a diffuser or taking a couple drops into the palm of your hand and breathing them in, is it's going to be to help purify and clear the air of any environmental threats or toxins. So diffusing something like lemon and grapefruit, any citruses will really help purify the air inside of your own home. So we're always diffusing those oils. Number two is going to be for respiratory support. So if anyone wants more open airways, they want to be able to breathe a little bit better, oils like eucalyptus, peppermint are really great for help opening up the airways. And then the third and probably the most important reason why people use aromatherapy is really for mood support. So what I love about oils, I call them my best mood friends. And any given day, at any given time, I can really choose my mood when I'm using an essential oil. So for instance, if I wanted to kind of bring things down a notch, I would grab a lavender or a Roman chamomile or a geranium or a clary sage. If I wanted to perk my mood up a little bit, I may use Douglas fir, wild orange, grapefruit, lemon, peppermint, because those are all really wonderful mood uplifters. And so it just really depends. And even when you're having a funky day, those days where things just are not working right, like it's just, yuck. That is when I call them my emergency oils. So I have lots of different blends, but I have this anti-stress blend that I use a lot and literally has anti-stress. My husband will toss it across the room and he can tell things are not working out the way that they should. He's like, here. He loves the oils too. But my anti-stress blend is just frankincense, bergamot, and lavender, and it's basically a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio. We make a big vat of it in a little bottle, so we just basically 10x that recipe, like 10 drops of frankincense, 10 drops of bergamot, and 10 drops of lavender. But I love it because when you use an oil like that and you do some deep breathing exercises, maybe takes 10 minutes, whatever that overwhelm was or whatever that kind of funkiness that you're going through really kind of just melts away. They are so powerful at helping to tune in and balance out emotions. And so that's why aromatherapy is just such a wonderful technique to really help support mood and emotions. Topical, as a practitioner, topical made the most sense because what I learned is if you've got an issue you want to deal with, you just put an oil on it, right? If you have you have a knee that's bothering you, put some wintergreen on it. If you've got a tummy ache, maybe put a little bit of fennel or ginger or peppermint over your stomach. And there's just so many wonderful ways to use them. And when it comes to topical, so I always say put the oils on the area of concern. And I have tons of recipes in the book about that. And then the third way is going to be internal. I love internal. Again, use cautiously, so heavily dilutions, but I love making water infusions. I have a water infusion book where we use tons of oils in those recipes because oils can be very purifying to the body as well, kind of keeping the body in a cleansing state. But also it makes water taste delicious and fun. We add them to our green smoothies for an extra flavor boost. We put them in our Thai food, and we just have a lot of fun cooking with oils. And they're great for oral health, they're great for digestive health, and they're great for overall systemic health on a cellular level. And so again, when used properly, and if you're using the right oils, remember they must be, have a supplemental label and be allowed to consume. They can really be very beneficial on an internal level. So those are basically the only three ways you can use them. Clearly, there's a lot of ways to kind of have fun with that. But I always want people to know that no matter how many oils you have, there's only three ways to use them.
Well, and I know in your book you talk about different oils to avoid at different times if someone's pregnant. So there's lots of great information there. One of the questions I have too is now you talk about using oils on a daily basis, and then there's a benefit to that. Can you explain how that would be beneficial?
Absolutely. So think about, I always like to kind of bring it over to food as well. Now, oils are not food. However, they do benefit the body in a lot of similar ways. There's antioxidants like in clove oil or frankincense or wild orange. And our bodies, our liver and our body metabolizes those oils relatively quickly. Within about 3 to 4 hours, your body's going to utilize them and use them up, kind of similar to how we utilize nutrition as well. And so when it comes to daily usage, your body is getting so much out of the benefits of those constituents. You're going to find, especially if it is mood and emotion that you want to elicit, using oils on a day-to-day basis to help really stabilize mood, to keep yourself kind of uplifted, or to really bring yourself down. One of the ways that I love talking about using oils daily is through self-care rituals. I think one of the reasons that we as women are struggling with hormones or just, overall having, maybe we're low energy or not able to sleep, whatever that may be, I love having oils, put into these really wonderful self-care rituals because they really heighten the experience of taking care of ourselves. And some of these rituals are very short and easy to do, but there's lots of different ways that oils benefit the body if we're using them on a daily basis. For instance, they can help boost the immune system. They can help really support our immune system so that we stay healthy all year long. They can help cleanse and purify the body, and they can help to really, again, support emotion, support other body systems inside of the body as well. And so, I love using peppermint every day for energy. I love using wintergreen every day for my really tough workouts when I know that my muscles are going to be tight or just kind of fatigued and worn out after doing, 20 burpees, whatever it may be that I'm doing that day. And so what I think what people will find is that oils really bridge the gap to creating very successful, healthy daily habits. At least that's the way that we do it in our house. Essential oils really punctuate a lot of my healthy activities every single day. So my morning ritual, my evening ritual before going to bed, even if it just means spritzing a little bit of lavender on my pillowcase and on my comforter to help me go to sleep easier and quicker. So those are just ways that you can really accentuate your healthy habits using essential oils.
Now, of all because your book is such a great resource. It's got everything from soap to essential oil usage to, creating cleaning products that you can use at home. So what is your favorite go-to essential oil hack?
Ooh, oh goodness, that's such a good question. Ooh, that'll put me on the spot on that. Oh, so for me, I think for a lot of women, it's real. I don't know if this speaks to you as well, but I always need more energy. I always want more energy. I really want a high vitality life. I want to feel good every single day. And I think that's what a lot of us are looking for, is to live in joy, happiness, energy, and really have that longevity that we're looking for. And so I use oils really for those types of hacks to really get myself feeling at peak performance. One of my absolute favorite things to do is give myself a little bit of an energy burst, especially around 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes I'm feeling a little slumpy and my initial reaction is to go and reach for something else. I call it trying to fill an unmet need. And that unmet need is that I'm tired and my brain isn't working anymore. And oftentimes what we do is we go towards a coffee, or we maybe grab a little, maybe it's a snack or maybe it's sugar. And for me, my body doesn't always do so well with that. And so I want something that's going to help.
Neither does mine.
Yeah. I end up feeling like crap later on, or it starts to show, where I don't want it to show. So I find that it doesn't work for me physically. So there's 2 oils that I use every day, a couple times a day, probably 2 to 3 times a day, depending on where I am. And I always say to just practice body awareness too, because you're going to notice those moments where you're kind of slumping. I find myself very aware of when I'm not at top capacity. And so I grab 2 oils. I have them with me everywhere I go. And it's a combination of orange and peppermint. And I just take a couple of drops. I rub them into my hands, and I do 2 to 3 deep belly breaths, and I stand up when I do it. So I stand up when I do it. I take the deep belly breath, and I get into a power pose. And I know this may sound a little woo-woo, but this really will give you more energy. And I call it the superwoman pose, right, with the hands on the hips and your feet are spread apart a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of breathe those oils in. I stand up, kind of get that energy flowing again, and I'm able to go back to work or able to conquer whatever task I'm doing. So I probably, the most consistent way that I use these oils really is for more energy so that I can continue to serve people at all of the capacities that I serve.
Oh, and I think that's so fabulous. You know, one of the ways I also saw that you've got a little recipe for is for negative self-talk. And I think for a lot of us, I mean, gosh, we're towards the end of February. If we had New Year's resolutions and we were trying to get ahead on those, and maybe those kind of fizzled by the wayside, negative self-talk is something I think a lot of people will go through.
Oh, absolutely. I would say that that's one of our biggest barriers to creating what we want to create is the negative self-talk and the way that we resist the life that we want to create, the dreams that we have for ourselves, even it to just be with our bodies, how we want our bodies to function. And, that's a conversation I have with women all the time. That's really who I talk to is women who are struggling with hormones or just their bodies aren't performing or doing the things that they want them to do anymore. They don't feel at home in their own body. And so oftentimes we're talking about how to utilize essential oils, diffuser blends or blends you can just use in your palms to breathe in to really kind of wipe away some of that sabotaging talk that we do oftentimes, maybe because it's a lack of self-worth or something we were told, many years ago. But that all plays a role into the way that our physiology functions. Hormones are definitely chemicals of our physiology, or emotions are chemicals of our physiology. And so I do love having that conversation. Another hack that I love that I use every night is I have an issue with mental chatter. My brain is trying to figure out what I didn't accomplish that day or what I need to do tomorrow. And my list is endless. As we all know, that they're just endless lists. And I need to shut it down. And so I love, a combination of lavender and vetiver and clary sage. I put those in our diffuser, or I'll put it on the back of my neck and the bottom of my feet. And literally, it's as if somebody turned the switch off on my robot brain because it just shuts off. Despite myself, because it really needs to be despite myself. And so that's a really wonderful hack as well, to just shut the brain off so that you can get the sleep that you need to really conquer the tasks that are going through your head at that moment for the next day.
Well, and gosh, sleep is so important to our overall health. Being able to, get that chatter stopped and really be in the present moment and, be able to kind of let that go. I mean, what a gift that is. Absolutely.
Well, and definitely one of the most powerful gifts, because sleep is people have a really hard time falling asleep or staying asleep. And to be honest with you, not that I don't have recommendations and things people should do, like turning off all electronics an hour before bed and, dimming the lights. And I have all these, but what I have found to be the most powerful technique I've got in my pocket is just using an essential oil. And that does the trick. Not that one shouldn't do all those other wonderful things to get prepped for bed, racing into bed. Because I always tell people you can't just run into the bed. Your body doesn't work that way. Cortisol is soaring and, it feels like you're in survival mode when you're trying to go to sleep. So there are definitely steps to get you to sleep. However, I find that an essential oil, the effectiveness and the fast-acting capacity of one drop of essential oil is just always mind-blowing to me how fast that'll just shut you down so that you can get the restful sleep that you need.
Mm. Well, your book is just packed of so much useful information. And I'm so happy to have my hands on a copy of this, Smart Mom's Guide to Essential Oils. So where can our listeners connect with you? I know if you get people who are going, gosh, I've got the book, I've read it, but I think I need a little bit more help and maybe I want to work with you personally, how do they connect with you?
Absolutely. Great question. Well, inside of the book, we do have a resources section where people are going to get videos and tutorials. For those who are going to be purchasing the book, we'll have a bonus page where people will be receiving bonuses. But the best way to reach out to me, clearly, through the bonus section or even through my landing page. Actually, you know what? I don't know if you're open to it, but I definitely have a wonderful little bonus I could hand over to people. It's a great way to reach out to me as well.
That sounds like a fabulous thing. We like bonuses.
Yes. So I have created this amazing energy and vitality bundle from my best tips and techniques, from green smoothie recipes to my energy blends, to my self-care rituals. I mean, everything's in here. And it is drmariza.com/vitality. And that's DRMARIZA.com/vitality. And that is just a phenomenal bonus to get people started. And they'll have full access to me as well. So that'll be a great way to get them set up.
Oh, that is a perfect place to start and to get connected. Of course, they want to pick up your book, which is available at all major retailers and, of course, on Amazon. So thank you so much, Dr. Mariza, for spending the time with us today.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. Oh, I love to talk about oils. And it just excites me when they discover them for the first time. Oh, the experience that happens when someone uses an oil for the first time is just so magical. But it's because they work. And I think that really kind of blows people's minds. That's the reason why we use them in our house every single day, is they work at such an incredible capacity, for the lifestyle that a lot of families want. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's great information. I'm going to be checking out your Vitality e-bundle and signing up for that, and I suggest all of our listeners do as well. And let's get started on this new year with some great health.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for our listeners, we'll be right back after these messages.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
There comes a moment when you realize you're somewhere special, when you discover that each beautiful creature that you see has been rescued from a life of absolute horror and brought to this incredibly free place. Here's where their lives were forever changed, and where yours will as well. Discover over 500 tigers, bears, and lions at the brand new visitor center at the Wild Animal Sanctuary just outside Denver. For more information, visit wildanimalsanctuary.org. Discover true freedom at the Wild Animal Sanctuary.
I know we are unlimited, not only because I healed myself of chronic disease in only 3 weeks, but because I know what has helped thousands of my clients transform their own lives. My book, A Short Path to Change, 30 Ways to Transform Your Life, offers 30 easy and quick tools you can use to help transform any aspect of your life. Visit and subscribe to my site, JennyMannion.com, JennyMannion.com, for free gifts, including a guided healing meditation and the first chapter of my book. I look forward to offering you easy ways to help you get clear for the new year.
Have you ever had the sense that your thoughts might actually be doing something? Ancient secrets of manifesting have been masterfully revealed in the award-winning book Manifesting 123 by Ken Elliott. For the first time, the author's experiences and stories in this book describe exactly how your thoughts can create anything. You've been doing this all your life, but it's never been fully explained for you until now. Visit manifesting123.com for more information today. Manifesting123.com.
This is Tanya Carroll Richardson, author of the new book, Angel Insights. I used my psychic gifts to get messages from the angels to write this book, and I'd like to help you get personalized messages from your own angels. Learn your subconscious blocks, make sense of the past and present, and receive advice about navigating your future in an angel reading at TanyaBlessings.com. Book a session with me and your angels at TanyaBlessings.com.
Ben Wexler is a gifted leadership development and strategy consultant for professionals who want to transform their organizations and careers. Through a uniquely personalized set of processes, participants discover their unique knowledge, how to leverage that knowledge and experience, and then put it all together with a global strategy. You're more valuable, your organization is more valuable, and the change is viral. Contact Ben at 630-881-1074. 630-881-1074.
Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. Our next guest is here today to talk to us about Chinese holistic medicine. Stephen Cardoza is nationally certified and licensed Chinese medical physician who has practiced for over 18 years. He holds a master's degree in traditional Chinese medicine, is a licensed acupuncturist and herbalist, and certified in many types of style of Qigong. He also has been teaching many classes and done many workshops, including acupuncture. You can check out his website at compassionate-arts.com to learn more about his schedule and different classes that he holds. So let's welcome to the show, Stephen.
Thanks so much for having me here, Marianne.
Oh, thank you. So Chinese holistic medicine in your daily life. Ooh, I got lots of questions about that.
Great. Well, let's hear them.
Well, let's just start off with the bare bones, because a lot of people, they may think, oh, Chinese holistic medicine, they're probably going to give me some funky tea that I've got to drink or something like that. What is Chinese holistic medicine?
That's a really good question, and that's actually one of the reasons why I wrote the book, was because I think a lot of people have a limited understanding of what Chinese medicine is. And all of Chinese medicine is holistic, but I put the word holistic in the title of the book just to accentuate that, because that's one of the distinguishing qualities of Chinese medicine versus more well-known Western medical practices. So Chinese medicine is not just acupuncture like a lot of people might tend to think, because that's one of the aspects of Chinese medicine that's in popular media, but it does include Chinese herbal remedies, and you alluded to that with the funky tasting teas. If people actually know about that, they're already head and shoulders above many other listeners, I'm sure. It also includes physical therapies like people can get passive physical therapies like Tui Na, which is a type of Chinese massage, or medical Qigong, which is another therapeutic approach that a practitioner will perform on a patient. But it also includes the more commonly known practices of like Tai Chi and Qigong, which someone does for themselves. That's subsumed under the heading of Chinese medicine, because both Tai Chi and Qigong do have very specific medical and health-building applications. And then there's also dietary and lifestyle considerations, some of which parallel the more common dietary and lifestyle considerations we're aware of in the Western world, and some are quite different. And so this book presents an overview of all of those things, how they are completely integral to Chinese medicine, and how they are holistic, and how they integrate with each other to produce the best results when anyone's working towards achieving optimal health.
Well, and I like how your book has, like acupuncture has its own definitions, and it goes into that, and all the different other modalities as well, so people can really gain a great understanding about what this is all about, because it does get a little confusing for us Westerners sometimes.
Definitely so, yeah. And Chinese medicine is real medicine, which a lot of Westerners might not fully understand. I think in the West we tend to think of it as maybe akin to a kind of folk medicine or a type of adjunctive therapy, but it is a real medicine, and as such it can be a very weighty and cumbersome topic. And so I do try to make it as accessible for the Western reader to really understand how each of those modalities work, how acupuncture works, how it's applied, what people might expect when they visit the office of an acupuncturist. A lot of people don't really have any idea what to expect in that kind of environment. And I approach all of the other modalities in the same way: what Chinese herbs are, how they do work, how they have effects that are similar to yet different than pharmaceutical drugs, the relative safeties of Chinese herbs versus pharmaceutical drugs. So I try to provide as many touchstones for the Western reader to make it as comprehensible and relatable in ways that they're going to understand based on what most of us who grew up in the United States think about medicine. Similarly, the same issues about Qigong and Tai Chi. A lot of people have very general ideas about how Tai Chi and Qigong might improve your health, but the book goes into more specifics as to actually how those things can improve your health and how there are actually many, many, many different styles of Qigong in particular, and quite a few different styles of Tai Chi, each having their own unique strengths and focuses, so that people who are looking for a specific type of health improvement might want to study a specific type of Qigong to achieve their particular goals.
Now, when you were doing your research for this book, it must have ended up, kind of looking like an encyclopedia, because, I know you're this is something that you've been studying for years and years and years. How did you get this to the point where it's kind of tailored down, where it would be more I'm sure there are some topics that were probably left out because you can only write so much in a book, with all of your vast knowledge and experience. How did you determine what were some of the things that you're like, gosh, we really have to have this in here?
Well, the first half of the book is primarily about Chinese medical theory, how things work according to the way the Chinese look at health and medical practices. And that, like you said, it's a vast world. And so I picked the things that I thought were most relatable, cutting across all the different ways that Chinese medicine can be applied. Because China's probably the oldest continuous culture on the planet now. So they have thousands and thousands of years of unbroken history. There's other countries and cultures that have been around just as long, but due to wars and upheavals and various types of revolutions within those countries, there hasn't quite been the same level of continuity that the Chinese have had. So they have these thousands of years of history, and at different points in Chinese history, different types of Chinese medicine achieve prominence and achieve favor. Some listeners may be familiar with the most popularly practiced kind of Chinese medicine in the United States now is called TCM, or traditional Chinese medicine. But there's 5-element or 5-phase Chinese medicine, which has a wide number of adherents and is practiced almost as much as TCM in the United States. And there's different schools of Chinese medical thought, but within all of those schools of medical thought, there are some common touchstones, there are some commonalities that are really important and weave through all of those. So in writing this book, I tried to mainly focus on the Chinese medical concepts that cut across the board, and the Chinese medical concepts that I think are really the most fundamental and foundational for Westerners to get an understanding of, so that they can begin, when they're applying self-care practices based on these concepts, they can begin to get an idea of how these concepts work, and that will give them even better results when they, say, apply acupressure, or they do Qigong, or they do Tai Chi, or they take Chinese herbs. So that was my reason for selecting what I did select to put in the book. You're right. In my home, I have a library of probably, 200 or 300 books on Chinese medicine in all of these different aspects, including herbs and Qigong and those type of things. So, and that's, just the tip of the iceberg in the whole Chinese history of Chinese medical literature. So it did take a bit of thought to really winnow it down to this, but I hope that I've done a very effective job, and that I'm able to help people really get what they need to get to improve their health.
Oh, I think you've made it very easy for the reader to kind of just dive into it and get a really good understanding about Chinese, herbal medicine and holistic medicine, and being able to really incorporate that in their life, which kind of leads me to my next question, is what are some of the simple ways that we can kind of integrate some of this into our lives?
Well, the first step is that you need to learn what's available to you, and that's one of the main reasons that I wrote the book too. So say somebody knows about Tai Chi or Qigong, and they want to include that in their lives. You can pick up. I mean, there are scores of books in English that people can get to start to learn more about Qigong, and many of them have Qigong exercises in those books. Those books, I think, in particular, are really good for giving people more an understanding of what Qigong is, rather than really how to apply it themselves. Because ideally, you're going to want to find a teacher to teach you how to do the kind of Qigongs you want to do, because there's a lot of observation that a teacher will make, a lot of correction that a teacher will make that you just can't get from a book. The other things are there are a lot of, say, very, very simple dietary changes people can make. They're very simple herbal remedies that people can include. So someone can, if they can assess themselves and see, well, I tend to get colds easily, or I tend to get overheated easily, or I'm too tired, or I'm overweight, or whatever the issue happens to be that's troubling a particular person, they can look in my book or look at other books, or look online even as a place to start and see. You can, if you look online, you can just type in the search engine like Chinese herbs for fatigue, and you can get some idea what might be helpful. What you'll find online, though, oftentimes is being promoted by marketers who are trying to sell you their particular formulation for Chinese herbs, and so you're going to get a marketing bias. But at least you begin to get an awareness. And if you check out a few different companies and see what herbs might be in common that each company is offering for your particular complaint, say like astragalus is an herb that a lot of people are aware of, good both for energy and immune support. So maybe you want to, and in Chinese that herb is called huangqi, and that is discussed in my book. So you can learn how to, say, do a style of qigong that will benefit your immune system and increase energy, and what herbs along with astragalus might also benefit your immune system and promote energy, and have those things taken together and combine them, and then you get an additive benefit. And then you might also learn, either again from my book or from other research, what particular acupuncture points are really good for building energy in certain ways, because say low energy can come from a variety of different sources in anyone's body, and my book will help you kind of figure out what your particular source of low energy, for example, being that we're talking about that, is stemming from, and you can select acupuncture points that my book teaches you how to do acupressure on select acupuncture points to address particular health challenges. So there are a couple of very potent acupuncture points that build energy in general ways. There's one on the legs, which is called Zusan Li, and one on the arms, which is called Shosan Li. And that basically that translates into leg 3 miles and arm 3 miles, because stimulating those points in the past has shown that people who were, say, responsible for running between villages to bring messages from one village to another, they could run an extra 3 miles by stimulating Zusan Li, or leg 3 miles, so they could have the energy to go an extra 3 miles by stimulating Shosan Li on their arm for arm 3 miles. So if you combine those acupressure points with astragalus and other herbs and a qigong that helps build energy and banish fatigue, you're going to have the integration among 3 different modalities right there that are all working in the exact same direction to do the exact same thing for you. And that's really how Chinese medicine is designed to work. Any one of those things is going to be helpful. So a person can go to an acupuncturist and just get needled, just get an acupuncture treatment, and that's going to be beneficial. But what acupuncture does is it mainly reapportions the energy that a person already has in different ways within their body. So you might have an abundance of energy in one part of the body that could be causing stagnation because there's too much energy stuck in one place, where another part of your body might be deficient in a very similar way that if you put a dam in a stream, the water's going to back up behind the dam, and farther downstream there might not be enough water. So acupuncture is really good at, say, rerouting that water, rerouting your chi, so that you get you take it away from areas that are excess, you bring it to areas that are deficient, and you can increase the functionality of those organs that might be downstream, or the meridians that are downstream from where that dam was. But acupuncture typically doesn't add anything extra to your body. And if, being that we were talking about fatigue or low energy, if your body's fatigued or has low energy because it's lacking something, if you add an herb, you're adding a substance to your body that can help build it up. So you can be freeing an obstruction with acupuncture, and which will facilitate, say, the functioning of an organ that can build energy. If your spleen, in Chinese medicine, the spleen is one of the main organs that help your body build energy. And if your spleen is like downstream from that dam, it's not going to get enough chi for it to function well, so you won't necessarily be building energy as well as you could because you have a spleen chi deficiency. So acupuncture can bring more chi to your spleen, but then you can also give your body the nutrition. If we can look at it from a Western concept of nutrition, that's something that will build energy as a substance, so your body gets to build up more energy that way. And then you can do a Qigong practice, which helps you bring more Qi in from the atmosphere that's around you, because it does help. Almost all Qigongs help you breathe better if you're taught Qigongs properly. They'll help you breathe better, so you get more oxygen in, and you draw in more atmospheric Qi, and you can draw more Qi. I'm talking about Qi now in case listeners don't know. We can, for right now, we can just look at Qi as energy. There's a lot more implications to the word, but as a simple translation and for our purposes right now, we can just talk about Qi as energy. So you can bring energy in from so many different sources and direct it exactly to the places that you need to direct it to improve your health and the way that your body works. So that's the way people can approach using these practices to directly address things within their own life. And I know I've given you a whole lot of information all at once, but you can take any one of those little things. So you can take, learn a little bit of acupressure, or start taking astragalus, or find a teacher to teach you a Qigong practice that is really relevant to your needs. That's where you start. And then over time, you learn how to integrate more and more of these components to really build your health up so that you're functioning optimally all the time.
Now, let's say someone picks up your book, Chinese Holistic Medicine in Your Daily Life. So they've picked up your book, they've read it, and they're like, gosh, you know what, I need a little bit more help. I feel like, because it is, I think, easy when you do kind of do searches, how you were saying, you can kind of get a little bit bombarded with a lot of different advertising for people who have their own holistic mixtures that they're trying to sell. But let's say we want something specific for like me. I want something specific for me. I've read your book. Do we have ways of getting in touch with you that we can do maybe appointments from a distance? I know that you can pretty much see anyone anywhere.
Correct, yeah. I do give Skype lessons. Those would be a little more limited than the kind of teaching I do one-on-one in person, just because of physical restrictions. But for, like, say, my first book on Chinese healing exercises, those are things I can teach people via Skype because they don't take up a lot of room, and they're very, very easy to learn. I can also do some basic consultations if people want advice on herbs that might be most beneficial, or nutritional supplements, or ways they can modify their diet. That's something we can certainly do. I'm located in the greater Boston area. I'm currently living in Lexington now. So if people want to come to me for direct appointments, or to come to my Qigong workshops and classes, or Tai Chi workshops and classes, that's certainly possible. So the the two best ways to reach me right now for those type of things are, one email address is Daoist, and that's DAOIST, and then the number 1, so Daoist1 at DSLExtreme.com. So Daoist1 at DSLExtreme.com. And the other way is I do have a website that is a little bit out of date, but it still has a lot of useful information on it. And there is, and the website address is compassionatearts.com, and there's a hyphen between the word compassionate and arts. So it's compassionate-arts.com. There is an email link to me on that website as well. I was just notified by one of my students that the email address as of yesterday was not working, so I need to contact my ISP and get that corrected. But by the time your listeners actually hear this, that should be done, because we're actually talking in mid-January, and I understand the show is going to be aired sometime in February. So by then, that email address on my website will also be functional too.
Oh, perfect. Now, we've got a few minutes before I let you go, and gosh, this is such great information. I want to try to get in at least one more question before we close up here. So what are some of your, what's one of your favorite tools to kind of, I know you talked about, and it actually was a great discussion in regards to, lack of energy or feeling fatigued, because a lot of people kind of, that's kind of probably a number one complaint I hear from people. So what's one of your favorite tools to put in practice?
Specifically to deal with fatigue, or in general?
Just in general.
For myself, my very favorite thing really is to do Qigong, just because I can do it anywhere. I don't need particular tools. I don't need to have my acupuncture needles with me, although I do needle myself. I give myself acupuncture treatments, and I do take Chinese herbs on a daily basis. And those are maintenance things for myself. And Qigong is also maintenance, but Qigong is fun. I find it fun. So especially when the weather's nice, I can do Qigong and Tai Chi, which I like just as much, outdoors. So I can be getting sunshine and fresh air, hopefully in a healthy environment while I'm doing that. But I can also do it indoors, when the weather's not so nice, and I want to recharge myself. I can, even if I'm between patients, if I have just like a 10-minute break between seeing acupuncture patients, I can do 10 minutes of Qigong, and I can revitalize myself. And 10 minutes is not as much fun as I'd like, but it's useful. So even in that short amount of time, you can regenerate and rejuvenate yourself pretty quickly and effectively. So that's one of my favorite things to do. With Qigong, of course, as you learn in the book and from other sources too, you're always regulating your body and your breath and your mind. Those three things need to be regulated in concert with each other in order for something to be considered a Qigong. And throughout the course of people's work days, if they know a simple 10-minute practice that they can do where they are regulating their body, breath, and mind, their body and mind are going to be revitalized, so they can either get back to doing work, or they can do their chores around the house, or take care of the kids, or whatever it is they need to do, as long as you can get a little bit of time to yourself to do something like that. And that's something that once you learn how to do it, it's yours forever. You don't need to see a Chinese or a Western doctor to be able to do. You don't need to spend any money to buy herbs to be able to do that. It's something that's integral to you. You own it, and whenever you want to make use of it, as long as you can make the time for yourself to do it, you got it.
Oh, that's some really great information, some great tips, especially for this new year. Thank you so much, Stephen, for taking the time to be here on the show with us today.
My pleasure. I've enjoyed very much talking with you. I do want people to know that I have a Dragon and Tiger Qigong workshop coming up on March 5th at YMAA in Roslindale.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today. We really appreciate it, Stephen.
Well, thanks so much, Marianne, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you and to all the listeners out there as well.
Thank you so much, Stephen. It's been such a joy to have you on the show, and hopefully we can have you back another time. That's Stephen Cardoza. His book, Chinese Holistic Medicine in Your Daily Life, can be found at all major retailers and, of course, on Amazon. I'd like to pause here just for a minute. We've got a great show that's coming up this coming up month, actually. We've got quite a few shows. We'll be featuring such people as John Gray, who wrote Men Are for Mars and Women Are for Venus. He has a new book that's coming out. We also have Don Miguel Ruiz, who's going to be hosting a special event in Denver, Colorado at Mile High Church, and quite a few other special guests. So you want to stay tuned. And to find out more about the show, you can go to mariannepastana.com. I'm also on Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and of course, Instagram. Next month, we're going to have a special giveaway, and one lucky person's going to have a couple books sent to them. So you want to make sure that you sign up for these giveaways. You can do that on my Facebook page at Moments with Marianne on Facebook. And look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Thank you for taking the time to tune in with us today. And remember, make every moment count.
Join us next time for Moments with Marianne, when host Marianne Pastana brings another inspirational gifted leader to help us grow. Tune in every second Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Moments with Marianne, when the Dream Vision 7 radio network is at 1510 a.m. Boston. Or catch Moments with Marianne every Thursday and Friday at 5 p.m. and 5 a.m. Eastern Time by going to dreamvision7radio.com. To learn how Marianne started her business from the ground up, visit mariannepastana.com. Don't miss this, and remember, make every moment count.